Testing, 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 testing. Testing, 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 testing. Okay, let's get it. Not much right now. We're just pretty much consolidating around London high and Asia low. All right, I'm gonna do a quick top-down analysis of what I'm looking at in price, really quick. Okay, so monthly we have been very bearish. So this is the monthly opening. We have the high, and we have the low. All right. by Monday, so once the next weekly candle opens, we're gonna have this weekly gap pretty much above us. So I'm gonna look to see how exactly our next weekly print will react towards that weekly gap above us. So I'm still gonna look for higher prices because we're literally gonna have this weekly gap be made as soon as next week or Monday opens. So I don't think I want to look for lower prices. Also because it's Friday and Fridays typically tend to be the days where we pull back for that weekly print. So considering that this current weekly print is bearish, Friday would just help support that we're going to look for higher prices. But this reaction from this monthly fair value gap here at discount was pretty good. I mean, look at this. It was about I would say, a 8% move up from our monthly gap. Pretty insane. But looking at the monthly time frame again, I would like to think that we put in the monthly low for then us to shoot back up and work our way back up to all-time highs. That's what I would like to think, but at the same time, it's still very early to call in the bottom of the monthly candle. But we do have this weekly imbalance as well here. There's a very tiny weekly imbalance that we have basically reacted away from. Look at the daily real quick. Daily time frame, we're still stuck between the range of Wednesday's daily print, so the high of Wednesday and the low of Wednesday. Thursday, inside day, and then Friday, we have also an inside day. We do have news in about 12 minutes, so I think that's going to help us set the direction for the remaining of the day. So right now, we're just patiently waiting for news. In terms of the daily direction, right now I'm neutral for this daily candle just because, yes, we displaced above these two daily civvies. Or let me draw it out with my boxes. So Wednesday practically open, displaced above this civvy and then this daily civvy, but we also have this daily order block. So it's kind of like neutral for me because I want to be bullish, but at the same time we are trading away from this OB. So what I'm currently looking at right now is this 4-hour gap. So like I talked about yesterday, in order for this 4-hour gap to be confirmed that we want to see higher prices, we want to stay above the midpoint of this gap. So we don't really want to see a 15-minute change in the state, because then that would just tell us that we're going to likely just go down and disrespect this gap and then look for previous daily low. So I kind of want to be patient here for news and then let news tell us where we are likely to go. So I'm just patiently waiting to see how we will react. I mean, of course, I want higher prices just because we're opening for that weekly gap on Monday and we have these nice equal highs above. So for me to be bearish, it wouldn't really make sense, but we'll see. All right. So on our 15-minute time frame right now, we did have a change in the state of delivery from this 4-hour gap. So these bearish consecutive down close candles, we were able to manage to grind back up and then close above right here. But as of now, we are consolidating around OTE of London's highs and Asia lows. So I don't want to see this consolidation around here. Because if we do displace and close below these up close candles here, then that would just tell us that we're likely just going lower instead. So it's either we close below these up close candles, or we stay above and keep closing above these last down close candles. And that'll just give me higher confirmation for higher prices. Because I'm trying to trade within this 4-hour PDA. So it's just a matter of waiting right now for me. So we have about 8 more minutes until 10 a.m. opens, which is news release. And let me look at the economic calendar one more time. Today is the 11th of April. So yeah, 10 a.m. news. We had 8:30 news with PPI, and then 10 a.m. news that we're about to have in about 7 minutes, 6 minutes. I want to see if there's any SMTs at these lows, because when we pierce inside this 4-hour gap, I didn't really see any SMTs around this range here. So if there's any SMTs down here below, that would be great. Let's see. Okay, so we have a tiny SMT here with ES. So ES was managed to take out this low at 445 on their 15-minute time frame, but NQ didn't. So there's SMTs here. I want to see us displace above this last down close candle here. That way we can look for opportunities to go long. because these equal highs above here that NQ didn't take, they look way too good for us to not take, especially with that weekly gap that we're opening on Monday and it being Friday today. So I'm more prone to being bullish. And I'm also more prone to seeing if we'll get a validation level for bullish moves as well. All right, 10 a.m. opens about 5 minutes. Hopefully we get some kind of clean 4-hour candle manipulation. And then we'll go from there. But we are about to have a 15-minute change in the state right here with these two down close candles and SMT. We're making a 15-minute for valid gap right here as well. So this little gap here. Mark this out. So I'm gonna look to see whether price wants to open at 10, have news manipulate, and then look for upside. Because remember, this retracement down from London high to Asia low was OTE. And then we had these SMTs at lows. And then we're just respecting this 15-minute gap, this other 15-minute gap, and we're having that change in the state. So we're gonna wait for 10 o'clock here. See if 10 o'clock wants to manipulate inside this gap, and then we'll look for longs. ES also has a hourly fair value gap above. So even if price doesn't want previous daily high, we could probably catch a nice retracement too. So, but like I said, it's Friday, so I'm not gonna put on risk a lot today. All right, 2 more minutes here until we get that 10 a.m. open. One more minute until we get that 10 a.m. open. Then we have that news driver. Okay, so we're not getting that candle closure above these two last down close candles. All right, so 10 a.m. has opened now. We have traded inside the gap. I'm gonna make this visible on our lower time frame. We didn't get that 15-minute change in the state for bullish prices, but we have came and rebalanced this 15. So 10 a.m., we have came inside this 15-minute gap. I'm gonna look to see if there's any SMT at the lows. So we took out this low here, but I don't think NQ took out this low. Let's see, I need to zoom in on this chart. No, ES didn't take it. So ES didn't take that low, so these SMTs are there. Okay, so we're invalidating these SMTs. Actually, no, these ones are holding. But I want to see us have at least a 1-minute change in the state. All right, we took out this low, that low too. So there's no SMTs at these lows currently. We are inside of a range on our 4-hour time frame, so I'm not really going to expect a lot from this 10 a.m. candle. So before 10 o'clock opened, so the 10 o'clock is right here. So before 10 o'clock opened, I was looking to see if we get a candle closure above this last down close candle. But you can see how only the wicks pierce through. Only the wicks really pierce through. And then we have that candle closure below it, invalidating this to be a potential CISD or a change in the state. So we didn't get that change in the state for us to look for higher prices. We did, however, have the 10 a.m. open and then rebalance this 15-minute gap right here. So if we do get that 1-minute change in the state, this is not really going to be a high probability type of fair rally gap just because we didn't get that change in the state. However, if we do get that 1-minute change in the state, I will look for longs, but I will be half risk just because this isn't a ideal type of setup. So we don't have any clear SMTs at these lows. But we're going to wait to see if we get that 1 minute change in the state. Patiently waiting here. All right. So we're getting that displacement above. We get that change in the state, I'm going to look for longs. But I don't think I'm going to put my entry right here. I think I'm going to make it like a little lower. Maybe equilibrium of this order block. Like around here. Have a better risk reward instead. All right, 10 a.m. We have rebalance to 15. No change in the state yet for this gap. Yeah, I was looking for this entry after the change in state, but it already pierced inside the gap. So do my stop loss like right here. I'll give me a better risk to reward. But let's see if we get that change in the state first. Because if we do not get that change in the state, then this 15 is just likely to fail. Especially when we're consolidating on our 4-hour time frame. This is either one deep retracement or just one reversal. What I wanted to see was like these candles displace above this last one right here. But notice how we never really closed above. Like all you see is just this wick. So all we see is just damage being done by the wicks. But the bodies stay closed below this last down close candle. So yeah, this isn't a change in the state. It's not an OB. Because I was looking more like this, something like this. And then continuation going higher. But we never got a candle closure above here. So this will just be an invalidation. But if we do have some kind of deep retracement and then continuation going higher, then this will just be a deep retracement to OTE. Or a reversal. So I'm just waiting right now. Because we're in this 1 minute gap where we have the potential to reverse. Or a 1 minute gap where we have the potential to inverse. But ideally, the only setup I was looking for or saw was just this one right here. So we're going to see if we inverse that 1 minute for value gap or continue going lower from it. But like I said, we are consolidating on a 4-hour time frame. So this could just be a range bound day for us to just bounce off equilibrium. So it is Friday. I'm not going to expect too much, which is why I'm going to be low risk if there is a setup. All right, so it looks like we're going to inverse that for rally gap because we're literally reacting away from this OB right here. I'm going to look to see if there's any SMTs at these lows. No SMT. But we did react away from this M1 OB. Like I said, I'm still looking for that candle closure above this red line where there is the change in the state. So we're going to see if we inverse this and then hold and then close and then retest and then continue going higher. So this is what I'm looking at, because if this candle is an open, low, high, close, then this is the ideal scenario. But the other scenario could be us respecting this OB, and then pushing lower, or just consolidating for the remaining of the day. You think we got more volatile moves later today? Could be a possibility because we could just chop around AM and then PM just have a cleaner price. Because we've been inside Wednesday's daily range. So 2 inside days so far. So what I don't want to see from this 1 minute time frame is us trading around the 10 a.m. open. Because if we're just bouncing around the 10 a.m. open, what this is telling me is that this is potential doji candle for the 10 a.m. I'll go to the 15-minute time frame again. If that 15-minute for valid gap is likely to be invalidated, then we're going to see if this 15-minute order block holds. Let me see if there's any SMTs at these highs. So there's SMT here. We're going to try this short. We have Asia lows here. We had this 15-minute order block on our 15-minute time frame. So here on our 15, see that we traded into this 15-minute OB because I was looking for longs from this 15-minute fair value gap. But when I saw us disrespecting this 15-minute fair value gap and then displacing through, I didn't like seeing this. So basically my setup for longs got invalidated because I didn't really get that confirmation with these candle closures above this last down close candle for us to look for higher prices. So when I saw this, I instead marked out this 15-minute OB, and this is where I decided to see if this setup was a potential setup. So the 15-minute inversion with this 15-minute OB, practically the 10 a.m. open manipulating, distributing, and then closing. So on our 15-minute time frame, we're having this 15-minute change in the state, this 15-minute change in the state. So we took out London lows here. And I'm pretty sure ES also took out London lows. So there is no S&T at these lows. However, what I'm looking for is Asia lows. Asia lows is down here. So we're going to see a price, or the 10 a.m. wants Asia lows. Like I said, today's Friday, and we're ranging around the 4-hour time frame. So I'm not going to expect heavy expansion. So we're trading inside this 1-minute gap here, away from this 1-minute gap. So what I do not want to see is price closing back above the 930. That's what I don't want to see. If we do manage to close below this last up close candle, then that's where I'm going to move stop to break even. The only logical target that I see as of now These Asia lows. So we had a candle closure below this last up close candle. So here I'm going to move stop to break even. So right now my job is just to let the trade pan out. So my target is Asia lows lining up with -2, -2.5 standard deviation. Like I said, on our 4-hour time frame, we are consolidating. So if we return back into equilibrium of the range, that's reasonable because I'm not expecting a lot of expansion, especially on a Friday. So returning back into the fair value gap again. So this is where I'm gonna have, or is a higher probability of me getting stop break even here. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna get stop break even here. I mean, I was kind of expecting that too because we are chopping Friday 4 hour time frame accumulating, so makes sense why. But honestly, this is the only setup I saw was the shorts, and it was pretty clean setup. Because what's it called? 10 a.m. practically opened. Then we traded into this 15-minute OB. We had that short-term liquidity rate up here, and then we had these SMTs up here as well. And then once price came down and closed below pretty much this change in the state, this would have been the ideal entry up here because this is the last up close candle from this high that we took. So the change in state was actually up here. So the ideal entry for this 4 hour candle would have been up here, but I took it from this one instead. But in terms of this setup, I would give it like a B setup just because the entry would have been better if it was up here instead. But this was a pretty textbook setup. I mean, yes, we might not go for Asia lows, we might just consolidate or reverse, but in terms of setup, this is the ideal textbook setup. There you go. So I got stop break even on this trade, and I would give it like a B setup. But if I were to take the trade, it would have been up here. This is the ideal entry that you would want. Stop at the swing high, and then all you're going to target is just external liquidity. So these lows, these equal lows down here, or London lows. And this would have given you a better risk to reward with a better setup. So 252 points from this OB, riding down the 10 a.m. expansion down. Now this is a very good setup. So yeah, you could say my entry was late, but the ideal setup would have been better if it was up there. But I was bullish at the start, so I wasn't really looking for any bearish setups. So this is either one deep retracement or one reversal from this area. All right. I'll be right back. Give me like 2 minutes. All right, going on here. Let's see. All right, so we're retesting equilibrium of this OB. We have about 3 more minutes until this 15-minute candle closes. Today would not be the ideal day to put on risk or trade just because it's very choppy right now. So, but I am gonna tape read. Wow. All right, so we're getting some reactions from equilibrium. I don't know why, but my PC shut off for like a minute straight for no reason, but that was pretty weird. How to reconnect everything real quick. Looking to see if we get a candle closure above the CE around this range, or if we want to respect it. Because right now I'm neutral. I don't really have 100% bias for now. And sometimes that's okay. Because if it's hard for you to read price and know where price likely going next, then that's a sign that you should take and say, yeah, I'm not going to trade, or I'm going to stay out, or I'm just going to tape read until something is clear. All right, so we had the new 15-minute candle closure above the CE of these up close candles. So now it's either we're just going to consolidate or we're going to be bullish. But like I said, if you guys are really looking to trade this, I wouldn't really trade this. I mean, this is very choppy and it's not the ideal conditions to be putting on heavy risk on. Because if we look at our daily time frame, pretty much we've been inside this range right here. So neither of these two daily candles took out this high or low. So it's just a one big chop fest here within this range. So these 2 days are 2 days where I don't put on risk. Wednesday, risk on. Thursday, Friday, or Monday and Tuesday, risk off. Wednesday, risk on. These two are just risk off right here. But so far, it's pretty boring day so far. Not a lot of volatility or anything like that. So we're likely going to get it on the PM session. So protocol for me is avoid AM session and just focus on PM session. So we're approaching the 10 a.m. open here. No setup being presented at all right now. We took one short, but it got stopped break even. So it's not really, there's not nothing crazy going on as of now. We're just ranging around the 4 hour. I'll drop premium discount at this range. Let's see if I get this entry. Like the risk reward on this trade. I like to think that this retracement was for premium. And it may be a potential continuation going lower. Because the only ideal draw that I see is just Asia lows. So I put a sell limit at this OB. Because I like the risk to reward on this trade. And if I miss this setup, then I'm fine with that. $125. Doesn't look like a batter sword either on this angle. Stop at the high. But if price takes out this swing low, then I'm gonna cancel the limit. Because the only ideal setup I see is this for rally gap and then continuing going lower. Let's see. Let's test it out. It pans out, pans out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the ideal setup is this one, the only one I see. If we do take out this swing low at discount, I am going to move stop break even. So we tapped into discount, but we haven't taken out this low yet. ES has, however. I'm gonna move my stop break even just slightly, just because there's SMTs at the lows. Because ES already took out this low at 1040. And NQ took out that low just now. And we're seeing that bullish 1 minute candle. Wow. I had my stop break even, but I still suffered a loss right there just because this candle was so volatile. Technically, this would be a break even trade, but it didn't get me out the trade immediately, which is weird. Okay, never mind. It was a break even trade. Wow, that candle was hideous. Ugh. Yeah, this candle's wick. So we took out this low as this swing low, and then pretty much just wicked 153 points in a matter of seconds. Which is insane. So we took out the swing low at discount. Ideally, I moved my stop to break even once we took out this low, but NQ didn't. And then we had this 1 minute spike that just completely took me out the trade. And now we're seeing me pull back down. So if we do start closing below this swing low, there could be a high probability that we're just going to start grinding down slowly. But ideally, Asia lows is right around below us, which lines up pretty well with our minus 2.5 standard deviation. If we do want to continue off this 4-hour candles direction. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this here as well. No S&Ts at these highs. Yeah, there's not really any S&Ts. All right, so we're below the 9:30 opening. And so far, we're respecting these bearish PDRAs. We respect this 1 minute gap with only the wicks closing above and the bodies closing below. But the only logical two draws would be New York AM lows and London lows. So we're looking to see whether we want to respect this 15-minute OB and just continue trading lower following the 10 a.m. direction. So we're tape reading, looking to see if we want to respect this 4-hour candle's direction and look for Asia lows. So right around here. Yeah, this is pretty slow. All right, I think I'm gonna end the live stream just because I don't want to keep being here watching the price just range back and forth. But for bearish, the overall draw liquidity for me would be Asia lows. If we're bullish, then we're gonna have to have at least a 15-minute candle closure above 10 o'clock. As far as news goes for next week, I'm actually gonna review it right now. I can pull up Google. Okay. Let's see here. So the 14 to the 18. What do we have? All right, so no news on Monday, no news on Tuesday. We do have an 8:30 news on Wednesday. So yeah, Powell speaking at PM on Wednesday, and then Thursday we have 8:30 news. So next week will probably be another slow week. Definitely risk off that week. As far as this week goes, we had a lot of insane volatility the first half of the week. And then Thursday and Friday is Thursday definitely, but today was just a very boring day today. Not really a lot for the New York AM session. Very, very range back fourth PA. So it's not the ideal type of price action to put on risk or blow accounts and wasting your capital in. So definitely preserve capital, wait for better conditions, and then put on risk. But I am gonna end the live stream because if I keep watching these candles, it's just gonna drive me nuts. But I'll catch you guys next week. Be safe. Don't do any dumb stuff, and make sure to review this week that was. That way we can keep improving. So, peace out, guys. Have a good day. Be safe. Take care.